Okay, so we're back again. We got the new motors, ESCs. We're only about an hour and a half down the road from the distributor, so it's not that big deal for us to run good parts. We do keep some things on hand, but if we run out, we just go up there in the morning, grab it, and we have whatever we need for the day. But I have a cold, and I feel like shit, so if I cough in this video, I apologize. But I need to get this done. The customer's coming to pick it up here this afternoon. So we're going to go through, put the ESCs, motors back in. I'll do a video on that, and then I'll do another one on rebuilding pumps, and then just going through the maintenance, checking different bolts in the arms, and different things like that, things I look at, end of year, working on the drones. Just things to check out and keep an eye out on. So let's get started. So, it can be a pain to run all this up that arm, especially on the back arm, since the tubes and the wire for the nozzle motors run down it. But if you get a good, little bit thicker wire, use it as a fishing wire. We're going to shove that down there, tape it up, and then pull the wires through. So. It's trying to feed its way down the back side. This is open on the frame right here under the back side. It's just trying to feed its way back through there. But we got it. We'll tape this up and I typically do one of the power wires, either the positive or the ground, facing forward, then I'll bend the other one back around, face it back. That way there's not a big clump of wires and connections right there in one spot. Just makes it easier to fish through. Like I said, with the hoses and the actual wiring harness coming down the back arms here, there's 4 arms, it can be kind of a pain to get everything fed through, but if you just mess with it long enough, you can usually get her. You don't want to pull too terribly hard, because if you pull your fishing wire off of the wires you're trying to get down there. rubber, I guess you'd call it grommet, in this arm right here with the knuckle. Kind of makes it tight in one spot. Go. Now, these will be fun as well, but I might have to get that fishing wire up in here and fish them through too, but we're going to try to feed them by hand first. I found if you go in, take that wire like that and then loop it in, has been the easiest for me. It can still be a pain, but just find a way to get them in. Alright. Pick. Into there. Go into that wire. Pull them through. I might do a video on all the tools that I have to work on drones. Anything that I put together, they're just, whenever there's a crash or maintenance or anything that I've worked on drones, if I've had to use something, I typically just go out and buy it. And that's how I stock my box. I have a toolbox here, and then I got a mobile one too that I take on the road. This. Alright, about that. Twist it around here. Perfect. Alright. Have a new motor connection bracket or connector bracket. It's just where the motor and ESC both bolt up. It's one of those, and then that's a new cover that goes over it. But we'll get the motor on first and feed those wires down. Alright. First thing you're going to need to do, take this bracket piece that came off the bottom of the old motor. It should still be fine, nothing should be wrong with it. Got the bolts. You can see there's thread lock on them. Anytime I take a bolt out with thread lock, I typically put thread lock back on. So. You don't need to use very much thread lock. You can actually run into an issue we've had before with bolts up in the central hub where I put too much thread lock on it. And it wasn't able to make a good connection, and it made it seem like the ESC wasn't working. But just a little drop goes a long ways. The way these things go, that piece mounts in line with those. That bolts down onto the arm, or that slides down in. Thread lock, the blue one. Typically start them by hand, and then I'll finish them off with my little impact. Try not to breathe into the mic either. I noticed that in my last video I was fat breathing into the mic. I know there's a torque specs on all this. I might have to look at the list as to how tight you're supposed to make things, but I found with a little 12 volt Milwaukee, if you have it set on number 2, it's typically all the tighter you want to get it. Put this on, put the blades on later. It's easier to put this on without the blades. Slide it right in. Grab your rubber grommets. That, and then you need your metal sleeves. I guess that's what you call them. These go over the little nipple that sticks out there on the motor, and that locks it into place. That. Bolts for there. I'm going to take the thread lock as well. The other bolts, typically try to start them by hand first, that way you don't cross thread things. These screws, I typically don't use the impact on those. I do those by hand. I've stripped them out a few times. So, avoid using power tools on any of the screws going to the plastic on these things. Okay. See if we have a little isolator to put on the wheel. Alright, we got new white insulators. Remember the last video? The other ones were melted, plastic melted around there, and it's not worth trying to get them out. Just get new ones. Could make these wires a little shorter, probably be better. I'll put them into a vine, but it is what it is. Yeah. I also typically don't use power tools on this or the electrical connections on the inside there either. I don't know. I'm just worried about stripping them out, and that's expensive things. If you, like I said, just strip it on that piece, but better safe than sorry. Not everything else will be around when you use a power tool on. Just a little drop of thread lock. Lift that up. And get it pretty tight. You don't want to overdo it, but make sure it's tight enough to where you get a good connection between those two. I think I put a little too much thread lock on that, so I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit. That way it doesn't interfere with the connection. Tight. Next piece. this little thing, not sure what it's called. I think it's just support for the little red end cap here up at the top. That way it doesn't push in too far. But if you look at it, the side is open here. So when those screws go in, when you tighten it up, that screw's going to want to push through and push that piece in. So I typically get a screwdriver and just put it on that side as I'm tightening that up. And I'll keep it held in place. Flat screwdriver. These are also screws going in plastic, so you shouldn't do those by hand as well. Good and snug, a little snug, and then I will shove the screwdriver in there and keep it from pushing that piece in as I tighten it up the rest of the way. You just need enough to hold it out. Okay. These don't have to be super tight either. Alright. Cover, go over this. You want to be careful tightening these up. You want them snug, but you don't want to strip that out. Got that. Now, put the end cap back on. These are screws that are going in plastic as well, so do them by hand. I have stripped these out many times. So even doing them by hand, you'll strip them out. So just be extra careful when you put them in. I mean, it needs to be snug, but not overly snug. Get the ESC bolted down here. I gotta remember how to see this exactly. I gotta look at this here and be sure. So it's on the outside. These, just be careful when you put them in. You don't need to sit there and get them. Alright, that's that. Go up inside here, connect the power supply, the power and the ground on the side. Plug it into the central hub. Alright, these can be painted too. So, you cannot put these in the wrong spot, so you gotta round it or crescent on the power side and then square it off on the ground. So there's no way to put it in the wrong spot. Use wiring diagrams to show you where to plug these in, but it's the only one taken out on this side, so it's pretty obvious. Okay. Push that through, and then just a little drop of thread lock on these. We do not want to put too much on. Just take some off. Okay. Pushing these in, make sure you push them so you see it click. That is in. Thread lock off. There. Now the blades. This is number 3 square plies. It's off here. Just gonna put thread lock on these before I push them down. Splay them out like that. Set them down. Started by hand. motor, new ESC, all put together, ready to go. The only thing we might do, might have to do is updates, but I doubt it. The new motors and new ESC should have all the new updates on it, but we'll check once we get to that point. I'm gonna do the other one off the video so I can listen to my podcast, and I'll be back to show you how to go through pumps.